Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons and the new Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set and Tales of Middle-earth, and my plans to run a Dungeons & Dragons Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth campaign and my preparations to do exactly that. So here's what I bought for, by the way, I am purchasing not every Magic the Gathering set, but very distinct, significant Magic the Gathering sets specifically to use in Dungeons & Dragons. And every single week at the FLGS, I use Magic the Gathering at the table to run Dungeons & Dragons, accepting the invitation that Hasbro has been putting out for close to 10 years, right? Saying Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering are not two products, they're one tabletop experience, right? And these cards are distinctly built, Magic the Gathering is canon to Dungeons & Dragons, right? And always will be. There's your invitation. Go, right? And I'm accepting that invitation. I'm so excited that Magic the Gathering is canon, is canon to Dungeons & Dragons. And so I'm really excited to accept the invitation, and my plan is to run a Dungeons & Dragons Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth campaign using the cards specifically, right? Now, there's challenges to that, right? And the reason why is Dungeons & Dragons is canon to Magic the Gathering. However, not all players understand that connection. I will tell you right now, without a doubt, Dungeons & Dragons canon is the most complicated canon of any product in the world, bar none. Without exception. And I will tell you right now, I think I am the foremost expert on D&D canon in the world. And the reason why is I know where it connects. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure everybody understands what products Dungeons & Dragons is actually connected to. You got a few wonks on Twitter like, oh, the D&D connects to baloney. And ha 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 ha, right? Is that funny? What does that mean? Right? And see, I don't stop. None of this is a joke to me, right? Every product Dungeons & Dragons connects to, there's an official connection, is their canon, right? And with Magic the Gathering, there's no question. Magic the Gathering is canon to Dungeons & Dragons. That question is asked and answered, done, finished, right? So and I'm incredibly excited about that, right? So let's talk about. So first of all, I'm going to tell you my plans for my Dungeons & Dragons. My specific plans for my Dungeons & Dragons Lord of the Rings Middle-earth, Tales of Middle-earth campaign. So first of all, what is its physical structure? What physical objects will I be using to run the D&D campaign? First of all, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people are trying to tell you there's a boogeyman of, that the physical books are. Recently, Professor Dungeon Master is like, oh, the physical books are going away, right? And so basically, recently, Hasbro made it so that they don't sell. If you want to buy a D&D canon hardback directly from Hasbro, you're going to buy a bundle, and that bundle will include a digital version of the book on D&D Beyond. Now, this is a big scary thing to Professor Dungeon Master and 100 other grognards that don't understand electricity, right? They're like, oh no, the physical books are going to go away. The whole product's going to be digital a year or two from now. It's a boogeyman. It's a boogeyman they're trying to sell you. It's absolutely bunk. And it's just not true. What this really means is if you want a physical product book, oh my gosh, the only place you'll be able to get it is Amazon, that niche little company. Amazon, oh, it'll be so hard to get. Listen to these grognards. Do you know you can plug a lamp into a wall and turn on the switch and a light? They're selling every single thing. Just terrifies them about Dungeons & Dragons. It's ridiculous. So funny. So if you want a physical copy of a Dungeons & Dragons book, you're gonna have to really work hard to get it and make an order on Amazon. Okay, yeah, real hard. Jeez. Unbelievable. And actually, the comic book, the comicbook.com too is like, it sounds like you're listening to Amish people talking about Dungeons and Dragons. It's just like, I know you guys choose not to embrace modern proclivities, and I think that's what I think. First of all, I lived in Lancaster, right? And the Amish are, well, it's actually, you know what? It's not like Amish at all. The Amish actually understand modern. It's just Ludditism. There's just so much Ludditism. It's astounding how much Ludditism is currently. It is truly astounding how much Ludditism we see. Woo! All right. So here is my physical structure. I will be using physical Dungeons & Dragons books because they're easily available and will be easily available to buy for decades or centuries or maybe millennia, right? Despite Professor Dungeon Master's boogeyman constructs that tell you, it'll be going digital, 3 months from now. It's utterly ridiculous. And I mean, it's not without stakes, right? I think, people listen to him. That's the thing that really is a little bit upsetting, right? Sorry, let me stay focused. Here's my physical structure. Physical. Okay, so this is interesting. Physical 2014 Players Dungeons and Dragons core rulebooks. 2014 Dungeons and Dragons core rulebooks. That means PHB, MM, DMG, right? And nothing else. Nothing else, right? We're going to try to keep this as Lord of the Rings as possible, and that means I got to keep out Xanathars, I got to keep out Tasha's, and I got to keep out every single realm, right? I don't want a Plasmoid coming up in here from Spelljammer, right? Normally I do not do this, but Tolkien ranks, right? Like, I will do things for Tolkien that I will not do in a Dungeons & Dragons game normally. So how do we get there, right? So physical, the 3 physical books, right? If they're in the 3 physical books, you have access to it. And actually, no, even that is going to be restricted. For instance, no monks, right? And so I'm going to have to go through every single. I think. Oh no, Dragonborn are right there, man. Dragonborn. So I'm going to have to take species and classes off the board to make this right? So it's going to be the 3 2014 D&D canon hardbacks, the core rule books, right? And the PHB, the DMG, and the MM restricted, okay? What's next? The D6s from Yahtzee. The Dungeons & Dragons official Yahtzee D6s. They have canon monsters on every face, and I will be giving them out to players for multiple different benefits, including benefits to their stat rolls from the very beginning, right? So I'll be using physical D6 official D&D Yahtzee D6s. In addition to that, I will be using the physical Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth card set, right? And the player characters will be chosen from those cards, right? So you can play Bilbo, or actually you can play Frodo, right? And actually, you could even play Bilbo if you want, right? And actually, so I'm going to take a look at every single, or you can play an East Farthing farmer, right? Or you can play a Protector of Gondor. That's literally a card, right? And so this will determine what the player characters are, who they are, where their alliances are, right? And so we're going to be using the physical books, the physical dice, the physical Magic the Gathering cards, and of course, Dungeons & Dragons is officially connected to LEGO through LEGO Dragon's Keep Journey's End, right? And so I will be using minifigs to represent for our miniatures, and I will be using LEGO minifigs as our miniatures, and I will be using LEGO as our terrain. So that is the physical structure of my Dungeons & Dragons Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth campaign that I am planning. Is that a good structure for the physical mix? Would you change that? Would you add anything? Would you change that in any way? Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.